Right, ready to dive in. Today we're going to be talking about, Jen Sincero's "You Are a Badass."
Ooh, good one.
This book, it's kind of like a pep talk, right? All about like how to ditch self-doubt and embrace your awesome potential.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're looking for a self-help book that feels like a chat with like a super motivating friend,
Yeah.
this is totally the one for you.
I agree. I agree.
Actually, I remember when I was feeling kind of stuck, like in a rut,
Yeah.
and the book really helped me like shift my perspective. So,
That's awesome. What I think is so cool about You Are a Badass is, it has this powerful message, right? Like you're already badass, but it's delivered in such a fun and relatable way. Sincero uses humor, personal stories, practical advice, but it
yeah,
just makes you feel like you're on this awesome self-discovery journey with a supportive friend.
totally. Definitely doesn't feel like a boring lecture or anything.
I don't know.
One of the things that really struck me was how much she talks about self-worth, like how important it is.
Right, she's spot on there. Self-worth, it's the foundation.
Yeah, yeah,
It's about believing in yourself even when it feels really hard.
yeah.
Sincero, she says that you are inherently worthy of success, love, and anything you're passionate about.
It's true.
She even tells this story about this woman who was terrified of public speaking.
Oh, yeah.
But she knew she had something important to share. So, she started small, practicing with friends.
Oh, cool.
And gradually she built up to larger audiences.
Wow.
And eventually she became like a sought after speaker.
That's so inspiring.
All because she decided to believe in herself.
Yeah, those real life examples are so powerful. They make you think, hey, if they can do it, maybe I can too.
Exactly.
And it's not just about feeling good either, right?
Hmm.
Sincero also dives into how powerful our thoughts are.
Oh yeah, she talks about how thoughts become things. What you focus on expands.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, you're more likely to attract negative experiences.
True.
But if you shift your focus to the positive, to what you want to create,
Right.
that's when things start to shift.
I've actually had some weird experiences with that myself.
Right.
Not like winning the lottery or anything,
Okay.
but I've definitely noticed that when I focus on what I want, even in small everyday things,
Yeah.
I tend to get better results. Have you ever experienced that?
It's interesting you say that. Sincero's point, it's not about some mystical force,
Right.
It's more about how our thoughts, they influence our actions.
Yeah.
If you believe in yourself and your goals, you're more likely to take the steps to achieve them.
That makes sense. And
Oh.
Sincero, she doesn't just tell you to think happy thoughts and wait for miracles.
No, no, no.
She's all about taking action.
She's all about turning those positive vibes into, concrete steps.
Yeah.
She says action is the antidote to fear. We all have fears, but it's what we do despite those fears.
Mm-hmm.
I love her advice about embracing imperfection. Done is better than perfect, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to get so caught up in trying to make everything perfect
Yeah.
that I'd end up procrastinating and not getting anything done.
Right,
And
right.
Ciro's reminder to just take action, even if it's messy, really helped me break out of that cycle.
I think that's, what's so fascinating here.
Yeah.
She connects that to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that you have the power to shape your own life.
Mm-hmm.
It's about setting a vision and taking those steps, even small ones, to get there.
Oh, Sincero has this great tip about breaking down those big, overwhelming goals into smaller chunks.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
She compares it to climbing a mountain, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't try to climb the whole thing in one leap.
Right, right.
You'd focus on one step at a time, celebrating those little wins along the way.
It's a great analogy because it makes it feel less daunting, right?
Totally.
You're not tackling the whole mountain, you're just focusing on the next step.
Yeah.
But even with a clear vision and a plan,
Yeah.
we can still get tripped up by those pesky limiting beliefs.
Those limiting beliefs. They're like annoying pop-up ads in our mind.
Yes, exactly.
Sincero has a whole section, right,
Yeah.
on identifying and reframing those negative thoughts that hold us back.
Well, and Sincero's perspective is those limiting beliefs are often just stories we've been telling ourselves.
Oh, interesting.
And those stories, they might not even be true.
Yeah, that's true.
So she encourages us to recognize those beliefs, challenge them, and replace them with more empowering ones.
There's this powerful story in the book about this woman who always believed she wasn't good at math.
Oh, wow.
She carried that belief from childhood.
Yeah.
And it prevented her from pursuing a career in finance.
Oh, no.
But she finally decided to challenge that belief.
Good for her.
She took online courses, studied with tutors,
Yeah.
and aced a difficult finance exam.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's such a good reminder that we are capable of so much more than we think we are.
It's incredible what can happen when we overcome those self-imposed limitations, right?
Absolutely.
And that kind of ties into the law of attraction.
Mhm.
You know, Sincero explains it in such a clear and engaging way.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that the energy you put out into the world, it tends to come back to you.
Yeah.
So if you focus on lack, you'll probably experience more lack.
Right.
But if you cultivate like an attitude of gratitude and focus on abundance,
Mhm.
you open yourself up to receiving more good things.
You know, I'm curious, when you hear about the law of attraction, do you ever think about those like over-the-top, almost comical portrayals of it in pop culture?
Oh, totally.
Like, it's interesting how that concept has become so mainstream.
It definitely has, yeah. It's got that pop culture element to it. But at its core, the law of attraction is really about alignment.
Alignment.
Yeah, like aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with what you want to create.
So it's not just about wishing for things. It's about
Right.
actively creating the conditions for those wishes to manifest.
Exactly. And that leads to another point that Sincero makes, like taking responsibility for your choices.
Oh, yeah. She encourages readers to stop blaming others or
Yeah.
making excuses
Yeah.
and to own their decisions, both good and bad.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose our responses to life's challenges.
Mm.
You know, we can choose to be victims or we can choose to be empowered creators of our destinies.
And that's where commitment comes in, right?
Yes.
Sincero highlights that commitment is like rocket fuel for our goals.
Oh, I love
So it keeps us going even when things get tough.
Commitment is about making a conscious choice to stick with something, even when it's challenging or uncomfortable.
I'm totally guilty of brushing off my accomplishments sometimes.
Really?
But she stresses how celebrating those wins, no matter how small,
Yeah.
boosts our confidence and keeps us motivated.
And celebrating wins, it's a powerful form of gratitude, too.
Oh, totally.
It's about acknowledging the progress we've made and appreciating the good things in our lives.
I remember this one time I was feeling totally overwhelmed and discouraged. I was working on this massive project that felt like it would never end.
Oh, no.
And then I decided to shift my focus to gratitude.
How did you do that?
I started making a list every day of everything I was grateful for.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And it was amazing how that simple practice changed my outlook.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me appreciate the journey, even the difficult parts.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like that shift, you know? It opens you up to a whole different energy.
Totally.
Like an energy of like abundance and possibility.
Mm.
And that's what Sincero's all about, right?
Yeah.
Helping us realize that like we have the power to create a life we love.
Exactly. A life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
Yes.
I think you've nailed it. That feeling of empowerment, it's really what makes this book so great.
For sure.
Okay, so let's recap some of the key takeaways from You Are a Badass.
Okay.
So first we talked about self-worth, right?
Yeah.
Sincero's big on that. She's like, you got to believe in yourself even when it's like super tough.
And remember, thoughts become things. That's a big one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What we focus on, it expands. So we got to choose those thoughts carefully.
Mhm.
It's not just about like positive thinking for the sake of it. It's more about making sure our thoughts are aligned with, you know, our desires and our goals.
Okay, and then there's that whole idea about action beating fear.
Right, right.
Zero's all about embracing imperfection.
Yeah, done is better than perfect.
It's more about getting out there,
Yeah.
actually making things happen, even if it's a little messy sometimes.
Totally.
Sincero also gives us a framework, right?
Yeah.
For actually achieving our goals.
Mm.
She says, set a clear vision for what you want,
Yeah,
and then break down those big, overwhelming goals into smaller steps.
I love that.
And of course, we can't forget about ditching those limiting beliefs.
Oh, those are the worst.
Sincero, she helps us see that those beliefs, a lot of times they're just stories we've been telling ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Stories that might not even be true.
Yeah. It's powerful stuff.
And we can rewrite those stories. We can create new narratives that are more empowering.
It really is liberating when you realize you have that power.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, Sincero also dives into the law of attraction, which basically says the energy you put out into the world,
Yeah.
it tends to come back to you.
It's like a boomerang.
So if we cultivate that attitude of gratitude, focus on abundance, we open ourselves up to receiving more good things.
Totally. And then It all comes back to taking responsibility for our choices, right?
Absolutely.
Sincero, she's like, own your decisions, good and bad,
Yeah.
and realize that you have the power to choose how you respond to the challenges life throws at you.
She also talks about commitment, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Commitment's like rocket fuel for our goals.
It's what keeps us going when we hit those roadblocks and setbacks.
And, let's not forget about celebrating those wins.
Oh, yeah. Those little wins matter.
No matter how small they are, it's important to celebrate them. It
Mm.
boosts our confidence.
Totally.
And it's a powerful expression of gratitude, acknowledging the progress we've made.
Sincero, she also brings up this really interesting idea about surrendering to the flow of life.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Have you ever struggled with that?
Yeah.
Like letting go of the need to control everything?
Oh, all the time?
Me too.
Yeah.
I can be such a control freak sometimes.
Right?
But I get what Sincero's saying. Sometimes you just got to loosen your grip a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and let things unfold naturally.
It's about trusting that, the universe or life, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
it has a plan.
Having faith in the process, even when we don't fully understand it.
Exactly. And being open to possibilities that we might not have even considered.
Right.
That reminds me of something else Sincero talks about, intuition.
Oh, yeah. That inner voice.
That gut feeling that often guides us towards what's right for us.
Even if it doesn't make logical sense.
Exactly.
She's all about tuning into that inner voice.
It's about trusting our own inner wisdom. That deep knowing that often gets drowned out by all the noise.
Yeah, it's easy to ignore that inner voice.
I think a lot of us have had experiences where we ignored our intuition and then regretted it.
Oh, I know I have. It's like we have this internal compass, right? It's always pointing us in the right direction. But sometimes we just choose not to listen to it.
Sincero, she wants us to pay attention to that compass. Listen to those whispers of guidance that are coming from within.
So to tie it all together,
Yeah.
what does this all mean for our listeners?
Yeah, good question.
Like, why should they care about any of this stuff?
Well, I think you are a badass. It gives us permission to step into our power, to really embrace our full potential.
I like that.
It reminds us that we are not limited by, our circumstances, by our past, or by what other people think.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to create a life that feels authentic, a life that's meaningful.
And it's about doing it with joy, with playfulness, and with that belief in our own awesomeness.
I love that. So now the question is, if we really believe that we are badasses, capable of anything we set our minds to,
Right. What are we going to do with that power?
what limiting belief are you ready to let go of? What amazing goal are you going to pursue?
What's that thing you've been putting off because you're afraid to fail? Now's the time to take that leap, to step outside that comfort zone.
Yeah, and Sincero encourages us to see life as an adventure, like a journey of growth and discovery.
Embracing the ups and downs, the twists and turns, knowing that even when we stumble, we have the strength to get back up and keep going.
And surrounding ourselves with supportive people, people who believe in us and cheer us on. Oh, 100%. Having those people around you, that support system, it makes all the difference.
It really does.
Like that tribe of people who get you, who want to see you succeed.
Yeah, they remind you how awesome you are, especially when you're, going through tough times.
Exactly. So Sincero, she also talks about something that I think a lot of people have a hard time with: money. She says we all deserve to be abundant, not just financially, but spiritually too.
I love how she just goes for it with this topic. It's so refreshing.
Totally.
She really challenges those limiting beliefs a lot of us have about money.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like that we're not good with money, or that being wealthy is somehow a bad thing, or that we have to work nonstop to make a decent living.
Right. She's like, nope, not true.
It's about shifting that mindset, thinking about abundance, believing there's enough for everyone, and that we're all worthy of, those financial blessings.
And it's about taking those practical steps, right?
Really?
Like managing our money well, investing in ourselves, and creating opportunities for financial growth.
It's Sincero also reminds us about giving back.
Well, that's important.
Yeah. Using our abundance, whether it's financial or not, to make a difference in the world.
Because we're all connected, right?
Exactly. And our actions, they have a ripple effect.
So when we give, we're not just helping others, we're also creating a more positive and abundant world for ourselves.
It's like this beautiful cycle.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into You Are a Badass, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, what resonated with you?
What's your biggest takeaway from this book? What's one thing you're going to do differently because of it?
Head over to the comments and let us know. We love hearing your thoughts.
And hey, while you're there, tell us what book you want to deep dive into next.
We're always looking for new, inspiring reads.
We're building this awesome community here, and your suggestions help us create content that really matters to you.
Because in the end, it's all about, sharing knowledge, having those aha moments, and just helping each other live our best lives.
Totally. And if you're feeling extra inspired, tag a friend who needs to hear this message.
Yeah, spread the badassery.
All right, before we sign off, I want to leave you with this thought. What if you really believed that you are a badass?
That's a good one.
How would that change how you approach your goals, your relationships, your whole life?
What could you achieve if you just let go of the fear, the self-doubt, and really stepped into your power?
It's time to stop playing small. It's time to start living those big, bold, badass lives we're all meant to live.
So go out there and make some magic. And remember, you are a badass.
Until next time, keep shining bright.